Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are going to be talking about something that I know a lot of people find stressful to even think about. Personal finances.
Oh, yeah.
And even more specifically than that, we're going to be diving deep into the world of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It's an option that most people try not to even think about.
Right.
But what if I told you that it could actually be a positive step, not only for your wallet, but also for your mental well-being?
It's true. And, there's this huge stigma
Yeah.
surrounding bankruptcy. People feel like it's a personal failure.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that sometimes it's the most logical and even liberating choice
That's a good point.
to make.
Yeah.
And we are going to be unpacking some surprising insights from a certified bankruptcy specialist with over 40 years of experience
Wow.
in the field. So get ready to have some myths busted.
Okay, color me intrigued.
Yeah.
Because I have always heard that bankruptcy means financial ruin,
Oh, yeah.
social shame,
For sure.
and like a decade of terrible credit. So let's start by breaking this down. How bad the mental toll of debt?
Yeah.
Like we all feel the pressure of bills,
Mhm.
but is it really that impactful on our lives?
It goes way beyond stressing about the numbers,
Okay.
Studies have shown that carrying debt can actually lower your cognitive function.
Wow.
Think about that. It impacts your decision-making abilities.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
Debt can strain relationships.
Oh, for sure.
It affects your sleep.
Yeah.
It even influences how you parent.
I never realized it went that deep.
It does.
It's so easy to just think, oh, I'll just work harder. I'll make more money. But it sounds like the effects are so much more insidious than that.
Exactly. And I've encountered so many people in these online forums clinging to these minimum payments on mountains of debt,
Yeah.
even sacrificing their retirement savings.
Yeah.
It's a ticking time bomb, and they don't even realize the damage that it's doing.
So let's talk about bankruptcy then as a solution. Is it really the financial apocalypse that everyone makes it out to be?
Right.
What about that social shame factor?
Public shaming is incredibly rare.
Really?
Most people are too wrapped up in their own lives to care about your financial decisions.
That's true.
And that whole decade of zero credit thing,
Yeah.
also a myth.
Okay.
Bankruptcy does impact your score, of course.
Uh-huh.
But those credit scores are arbitrary anyway.
Right.
And they bounce back much faster than you would think.
Okay, so it's not a permanent scarlet letter.
Not at all. And as for the fear that you're going to lose all your possessions,
Oh, yeah.
that's another misconception.
Okay.
Bankruptcy trustees are interested in assets they can resell.
Yeah.
They're not there to take your everyday belongings, like they're not coming for your couch or your TV.
Okay, that's a relief.
Ugh.
So when does bankruptcy actually become a viable option then?
Mm-hmm.
Like, beyond just being broke, what are some signs that maybe you should consider this?
It's less about hitting some financial rock bottom
Okay.
and more about a strategic assessment of your overall situation.
Okay.
So we need to look at root causes of your debt.
Mm-hmm.
Job loss, medical bills, divorce.
Yeah.
These are things that happen to responsible people.
Yeah. Life throws curveballs, that's for sure.
It does. And when that debt starts to seriously impact your quality of life, when
Right.
it's keeping you up at night, when it's affecting your work,
Yeah.
when it's straining your relationships,
Yeah.
it's time to consider taking action.
Okay, so it becomes less about giving up
Right.
and more about taking control.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sometimes it is the best option, even early on.
Wow.
And it's interesting to note that, some financial gurus who demonize bankruptcy have actually filed themselves.
Oh, wow.
Even Dave Ramsey.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You're telling me the debt-free Scream King himself filed for bankruptcy?
Yes.
That's wild. Okay, so for someone who's considering this option, what does the bankruptcy process actually look like?
Okay.
Is this some long, drawn-out legal battle?
It's more straightforward than you might think.
Okay.
Bankruptcy is federal law,
Wow.
which means it's largely consistent nationwide.
Okay.
And one of the first things that happens is something called an automatic stay.
Okay.
So imagine this, you file for bankruptcy,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly those harassing phone calls from debt collectors
Yeah.
stop.
Really?
That's the power of the automatic stay.
Wow.
It gives you immediate breathing room.
Okay, that sounds like a huge weight lifted off your shoulders.
It is, and then there are two main chapters that you'll usually hear about.
Good.
Chapter 7 and Chapter 13.
Okay.
Chapter 7 is often referred to as liquidation.
Okay.
So a trustee is appointed to gather any non-exempt assets you have.
Hold on, non-exempt assets.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Good question.
Yeah.
Think of exemptions as like this protected zone
Okay.
around your essential belongings
Yeah.
to ensure that you have this foundation to rebuild your life.
Okay.
They vary by state, but are designed to ensure that you're not left completely empty-handed.
So it's not like they come in and take everything you own.
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
The goal is a fresh start.
Right.
And to get that fresh start, most bankruptcy cases aim for what's called a discharge.
All right, break it down for me.
Oh,
What is a discharge?
A discharge is basically a legal order wiping out most of your debts,
Okay.
so they become unenforceable.
Oh, wow.
And here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
There's a priority list for who gets paid first.
Okay, spill the tea. Who gets paid first?
At the very top of the list
Yeah.
is any back child support that is owed.
Okay.
That's not dischargeable at all.
Okay.
And the bankruptcy code prioritizes that above all else.
Got it.
Then come recent taxes,
Mhm.
which are also non-dischargeable.
Okay.
And only after those claims are paid in full do general unsecured creditors, like credit card companies,
Yeah.
get anything.
Wow. I never knew that.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a free-for-all for all the creditors.
No, it's not.
Okay.
There's a system in place, and it's designed to provide relief in a predictable,
Right.
fair, and
Mhm.
relatively quick way.
Okay.
Especially compared to those debt settlement schemes that you hear about. Those can be real nightmares.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of nightmares,
yeah.
are there any debts that you can't discharge?
Yeah.
Is there a catch to all of this?
There are a few exceptions.
Okay.
So recent taxes, as we mentioned, those are usually non-dischargeable, along with DUI judgments and child and spousal support obligations
Okay.
and criminal restitution. Those are all typically non-dischargeable.
Right. Makes sense. You can't just wiggle out of responsibility for those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Debts incurred through fraud or intentional harm.
Yeah.
Those are generally non-dischargeable.
Okay.
But lawsuits related to those are pretty rare.
Yeah.
The vast majority of debts are eligible for relief.
That's reassuring to hear. So it sounds like bankruptcy can be a really powerful tool for getting a fresh start.
Yes.
But I imagine there's some rules you have to follow, right?
Of course.
You can't just wave a magic wand and make your debt disappear.
Right. Honesty and good counsel are really paramount throughout this whole process.
Okay.
Full disclosure of all of your assets and complete cooperation with the trustee are key.
So no trying to stash away a secret offshore account, huh?
Definitely not trying to hide assets or being dishonest on your bankruptcy forms
All right.
can lead to your discharge being denied.
Wow.
And that's where seeking qualified legal advice early on
Yeah.
is so important. A good bankruptcy attorney can help you avoid costly mistakes
Yeah.
and navigate the complexities of the system.
This is all incredibly insightful. I feel like I'm finally starting to understand bankruptcy on a deeper level.
Good.
It's not just about being irresponsible with money.
Yeah,
There are so many other factors at play.
there are. And, one of the biggest misconceptions, I think, is this idea that only irresponsible spenders file for bankruptcy.
Oh, yeah, for
As if anyone who experiences financial hardship is somehow lacking in knowledge or
Right.
judgment.
Right.
I mean, if that were true, how do we explain all the CEOs and business leaders who have filed for bankruptcy?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You're right. It's absurd to suggest that financial literacy is a guarantee against life's unexpected twists and turns.
Exactly. Financial setbacks can happen to anyone,
Mhm.
regardless of their education or income level.
Right.
And sometimes bankruptcy is the most sensible and responsible way
Yeah.
to address those setbacks and move forward.
Okay, so we've debunked that myth.
Mhm.
But what about those debt settlement companies we hear so much about? They always seem too good to be true.
Yeah.
So what's the real story there?
Well, I'm not their biggest fan,
Okay.
to put it mildly.
Okay.
They prey on people's desperation,
Mhm.
promising to settle your debts for pennies on the dollar.
Right.
But the reality is these programs are rarely successful
Oh, wow.
and often leave people in worse financial shape
Right.
than when they started.
So how do they even work? What's their angle?
They typically convince you to stop paying your debts altogether,
Oh.
claiming that they'll negotiate with your creditors on your behalf.
Okay.
But in the meantime, they're charging you these hefty fees,
Yeah.
and your credit score just takes a nosedive.
Yikes. That sounds incredibly risky.
It is. Creditors are not obligated to participate in these schemes,
Yeah.
and they often refuse.
Okay.
And plus, while you're waiting for the settlement that may never even come,
Yeah.
late fees and penalties are piling up,
Yeah.
further increasing your debt.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster,
Yeah.
so why do people fall for it?
Desperation, mostly.
Yeah.
They're grasping at these quick fixes.
Mm-hmm.
And these companies are masters of marketing,
Right.
They tap into that fear and shame surrounding debt,
Yeah.
promising this easy way out.
Right.
But the truth is, there's no magic bullet.
Bankruptcy, on the other hand, offers this clear legal framework
Yes.
with predictable outcomes. It's not a quick fix, but it's a legitimate path to financial recovery.
Exactly. And remember, the price of admission to bankruptcy
Yeah.
is honesty,
Okay.
full disclosure.
Risks. Cooperation with the trustee.
Yeah.
Adhering to the rules.
So it's not a free pass. You still have to be responsible and play by the rules.
Of course. But it's a system designed to provide relief, not punishment.
Right.
It's about giving people a chance to rebuild their financial lives and regain control.
That's a really powerful message. It really challenges that whole prevailing narrative around bankruptcy.
It does.
It's not about giving up. It's about taking charge and making a positive change.
Exactly. And remember, financial well-being is about more than just paying your bills.
Yeah.
It's about having the resources to live a fulfilling life.
Right.
Free from that crushing weight of debt and anxiety.
That's a goal we can all aspire to. Speaking of goals, what are some steps people can take to achieve that financial peace of mind?
Right.
Whether bankruptcy is part of the picture or not.
Well, it all starts, I think, with shifting our perspective on money. We're constantly bombarded with these messages about spending and consuming.
Oh, yeah.
And keeping up with the latest trends.
But where are the messages about saving and planning for the future and building long-term financial security?
Yeah, that's true. Saving isn't exactly glamorous.
No.
But maybe it should be.
It should be.
I mean, think about the peace of mind
Right.
that comes with knowing that you are prepared for the unexpected.
Absolutely. We need to change the whole narrative around financial responsibility. It's not about deprivation.
Right.
It's about empowerment.
Okay.
It's about having the resources to weather life's storms.
Yeah.
Pursue your dreams and retire with dignity.
I love that phrase, retire with dignity.
Yes.
That's something we all deserve.
We do.
And it starts with making smart choices today.
Exactly. Prioritizing our financial well-being, building an emergency fund, saving for retirement.
Right.
These aren't just smart financial moves.
Okay.
They're acts of self-care.
Oh, I like that.
You're investing in your future self.
Yeah, that's a great way to frame it. It's like giving your future self a high five.
Exactly.
And if debt is holding you back from doing that, if it's causing you constant stress and anxiety, then bankruptcy might be the tool that you need to clear the path and start fresh.
It's about taking control, not surrendering.
Okay.
And remember, bankruptcy isn't a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
It's a complex process that requires careful consideration and expert guidance.
Which is why it's so important to seek qualified legal advice.
Absolutely.
Don't rely on internet forums.
No.
Or those shady debt settlement scams that we talked about.
Right.
Talk to an experienced bankruptcy attorney who can assess your individual situation and guide you through the process.
The sooner you reach out for help, the better.
That's a great point. Don't wait until you are drowning in debt to explore your options.
Exactly.
This has been such an incredible deep dive.
It has been.
I feel like we've really shattered some myths today.
We have.
And shed light on a topic that's often misunderstood.
It is.
Bankruptcy is not a moral failing.
No.
It's a legal tool.
Yes.
That can help people get back on their feet.
It's a fresh start, not a finish line.
I love that it's about rebuilding, not just escaping.
Exactly.
And remember, folks, financial well-being is a journey, not a destination.
It is a journey.
There will be bumps along the way, but with knowledge and support and a willingness to seek help when you need it, you can navigate those challenges and create a more secure and fulfilling financial future.
Well said.
So building that secure future starts with having a long-term perspective.
It does.
Shift your focus from month-to-month survival to decade-to-decade financial independence.
That's a powerful thought to leave our listeners with.
I agree. Think beyond the immediate pressures.
Yes.
Envision the life that you want to create and start taking steps today to make that vision a reality.
And if part of that journey involves exploring the option of bankruptcy, remember, there is no shame in seeking relief. Yeah. It's about taking control, reclaiming your financial well-being, and ultimately achieving peace of mind.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, as always, you can find links to all the resources that we mentioned in the show notes. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.